Yes, welcome to this new episode, to this new live session with Quad A. My name is Tony Kasoma, a sound engineer, a Foley artist, and a Foley mixer here at Quad A. I'm also the head of training here at Quad A, Dante certified, and having over 12 years of experience. We want to thank you for coming in yesterday, attending the session with Andrew. It was a really exciting and important session for us, understanding the audio post-production process. We looked at dialogue, we looked at its mixing and its editing. So today I'm going to take you through Foley editing and mixing. We shall just dive right in. So what is Foley? Foley is that aspect of sound, of a soundtrack where the actor acts their moves in an environment within a movie scene. So you're looking at the sounds made by a human, animal, or animation character or an actor as they interact with their environment. Say, for example, the actor holds a door, grabs a cup from the table, walk through the hallway. All those aspects are the aspects of Foley. The Foley department has a team. And what is that team? The team, we have the Foley supervisor. Who is the Foley supervisor? The Foley supervisor is the overall seer of the Foley department. We have, in the audio post-production, we have the sound supervising editor, who oversees all the 5 elements which we touched yesterday as Andrew was introducing audio post-production, which are dialogue, which are music, which are SFX, which are Foley. So the sound effects supervisor works hand in hand with the Foley supervisor because this is the person that looks for these individuals. So the Foley supervisor oversees the Foley department. Then we have the person for the music, who is the music supervisor. Then we have the dialogue and the dialogue editor. So the Foley supervisor is that person. The Foley artist is the person who acts out the Foley. For example, if you look at the right of our slide here, we have an interesting environment, quite disorganized. You can see you have mics over there. You can see different items within there. So this is called our Foley stage. This is where all the Foley is done. If you observe here where my mouse is clicking, we have the sound, we have different surfaces that the Foley artist will act on depending on the scene of the movie. So the Foley artist, this is their space. This is their space as the Foley artist. Then we have the Foley mixer. The Foley mixer is the person behind, take him to be the technical producer for the Foley. He's the technical person, ensuring that we have the correct mics. You have the correct mics. You have the artist is working on the right right sound or the right surface. They are handling the right props. So the Foley mixer is this person behind the mixer, ensuring that the sound is proper. Are there hums? Are there buzzes? Is there hiss within the mic? And then we'll let the Foley artist know. So he's in a controlled room with speakers. It's like a studio like this one, where you have it is all soundproof because you need to listen to the environment as it is coming from the mic. So that is the purpose of the Foley mixer. And then you have the Foley editor. The Foley editor is the one that receives files from the Foley mixer. So his purpose is to make sure there is a clean, you have clean Foley. He cleans out the dialogue, he cleans out the Foley, he cleans out the hums, he cleans out the hisses. He ensures that you have proper clean Foley. The Foley shouldn't have any faults in it. It shouldn't have any noises in it. Otherwise, it will cease to be natural in that sense. So the Foley editor, that's his purpose. So when dealing with Foley, there are 3 tracks we deal with in Foley, and that is footsteps, That is track number 1. Footsteps. So footsteps come in all different kinds of varieties. So we have hard or soft leather. So take for example, if there was an office scene and there's this gentleman walking through that office, definitely most people in office would wear hard or soft leather shoes. So the material that you're going to use in that scene is hard or soft leather. As a Foley person, you're going to have to collect so many items. Me, I collect anything. I do not look at scrap as something that is useless. I reuse it in my creative work. So you will find me collect shoes. I will come for your old shoes. I will come for your saucepans. I will come for your bed sheets. Please don't throw them away, just send them. That is the Foley artist. You work with everything because that's where you get your sounds from. So we have the hard and soft leather. We have rubber. If the person in the scene was wearing rubber, you would go for the rubber shoes and then use those to act. There's bare skin. Bare skin simply means that you're walking the footsteps but without shoes on them. So you don't have shoes. So if there's a character in a scene that has no shoes and they're walking bare feet, so you would go for such material, which is always with you. The surfaces we work on, for example, if I just go back to this picture over here, these are the surfaces here. And this is what we consider to be the Foley pit. We have sand over here. This looks like sand. This is earth over here. We have gravel over here. We have some kind of wood over here. We have cement over here. Then we have a tiled kind of floor. So you would have the artist, the Foley artist, being mic'd, the microphone hanging 45 degrees towards the surface. Let's say they are going to act. If you can see where my cursor is, if the scene called for a tiled floor, the mic would be mic'd on the tiled floor 45 degrees and 3 feet away from the feet, and the Foley artist would walk on those surfaces. So those are the surfaces that are common in the movies. You have the tiles, you have the cement, you have the sand, you have the wood, you have the grass. So that is the footsteps track. The second track that we look at in Foley is the props track. So the props track, you will have things like keys, door locks, you have books, kitchenware, officeware, swords, gun handling, equipment handling, foodstuffs, all these materials. So you gather all this. If the scene calls for keys, you have your keys at hand, and those are what we call our props. Then we have the cloth or moves track. The cloth or moves track simply entails us having jackets, cotton, silk, the other materials that are involved in there, velvet, and other more. A famous actor that usually uses jackets in their movie is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise uses jackets a lot. I'll quickly demonstrate how a moves track would take place with the Foley artist. So here there are two approaches. So the first approach is you can simply wear the jacket. Let's say we are looking at our screen. So you have a screen where you look at the movie and pick out a particular scene. Let's say Tom Cruise is walking towards a certain place from point A to point B. So you have this jacket. The first approach would be to wear it. So you wear it and you have your mic angled just like you would mic for the boom swingers, just as you would mic dialogue. And this time it's angled to 45 degrees towards your chest. So you would wear the jacket and then start moving while you're imitating the moves within the scene. But the typical approach that most Foley artists use is you create a ball within your cloth, still the mic angle at 45 degrees, and then you would swap and create that sound. So we are imagining this is a jacket. So as you're watching the screen and you act out the moves, this time for this example, Tom Cruise's jacket moves. So those are the materials we look at. Examples of that could fall also in cloth and moves are hugs, body taps. So you're having some, if in the scene there was a family hugging, probably the mom is hugging the dad, and they're wearing cotton clothing. So you have cotton clothing, and then you do the hug on that. Then body taps, tapping the jacket, body grabs if there was someone that is being grabbed, yet say a kidnap, you would use body grabs. There's also kissing in there, so if you're planning to be a Foley artist, get ready to kiss, but usually you don't get an actual individual to do the kissing. There are many ways you can approach that, and one of the ways would be to probably kiss your hand to emulate that. So what is involved in the Foley production? We are looking at our workflow. In our workflow, we have importing AF and OMF. Now this happens at the pre-stages. So you have the supervising sound editor sitting with the director and sitting with the Foley supervisor. Remember, the first person was the Foley supervisor who oversees all the Foley, so they sit with them. Then the next thing they will do once the movie has been imported is to spot and cue. Spotting simply means you have an actor moving from point A to point B within that scene. Let's say the actor is moving from a canteen to a certain office building. So you spot that and say, okay, now this actor is moving from this point and to this point. So we want what? What do we want? If he's moving, then we have feet. So we spot for the feet and create a cue for that feet. Let's say he moved from time code. I hope all of us know what a time code is. These are timestamps within a movie. So let's say he's moving 15:30 seconds to 15:40 seconds within from the canteen to the office. So you spot for that and then create a cue of that duration within your session. So after, so many things can be spotted for. That's why you need the director. You also need the supervising sound editor. You also need the Foley supervisor, so that you can decide on what will be the Foley. What will be? Do we need footsteps for this scene? Do we need cloth for this scene? Do we need any prop that needs to stand out for that scene? We can be able to do that during the spot and cue session. So then what happens next is that you save those sessions. I prefer using 3 sessions. Why 3 sessions? I break down my sessions into props, cloth, and feet. Most people use 1 session, but typically now many people are taking on the using of 3 sessions, and I find using 3 sessions being the most effective for me. I don't know how others would approach it. But why am I breaking it down into 3 sections? Because when you receive a session that has props, cloth, and feet all at once, you're going to have a crowded session. So it will be hard, and with the tight schedules, with the tight schedules, you're going to have issues meeting those deadlines. So you break your session up into props, you break your session up into cloth and feet. All this you've spotted for, all this you've queued for. Another advantage with this is that, say for example, we are using a Foley facility in Uganda, and there's someone also using a Foley facility in Kenya. So we want to beat the deadline. We would send our prop session probably to someone in Kenya, then someone in Uganda can work on the feet session, or probably someone in Tanzania can work on the cloth session. So you have 3 Foley artists working in different area codes, and then they are producing this whole thing. Rather than sending 1 session that contains all cloth, prop, and feet. Yes, so after you've saved your session, then you pass them on to the Foley artist and the Foley mixer. Then they decide on what props, looking at the spotting and the cue, they decide on what props that they need, and then they record. So the Foley artist and the Foley mixer, with the supervisory role of the Foley supervisor, they oversee all this. So the Foley actor will act out the feet, will do the cloth, and will do the props. That's our recording session. And then we have the edit session. The edit session is now where the Foley mixer will take it to the Folie Editor to edit all that session. And then the Folie Editor will do a premix, or will send the premix to a dubbing stage for the re-recording mixer to finalize, touch up, mix. But most of the time, especially here at Quad A, we encourage doing our own premix so that we save the re-recording engineer a lot of burden. We make sure things are well mixed. There is a premix to the mix that we are going to send. Then afterwards, this is printed and recorded and dubbed up. So why Foley? Why Foley, first of all, is to support reality. And the first technique that we use, the technique that we use here is sweetening. So what sweetening simply means is that, say for example, there was someone shutting a door. When you receive production sound, usually the production sound lacks certain elements, especially the Foley elements. Why? Because the boom operator has, when the boom operator is swinging when the boom operator is swinging, he's swinging for dialogue. That is the major aspect that they are swinging for. And the techniques that they use may not capture certain elements. For example, if the character was speaking, let's say there's a lady that is speaking and grabs a cup off the table. The boom operator may capture the dialogue perfectly, but will miss the element of the cup. It will either be low in volume or probably even singled out, completely dead. So sweetening is what helps there. So after you've received your production sound, you spot it for that, then you can make the call that here I need sweetening. So you can add a door to that. So the Foley actor can act the door opening or the door closing. So the other element is enhance reality, and the technique here used is to marry and to layer. Marrying simply means, okay, the door has been captured well, but we need a door that is so massive. If you watch so many movies and you listen to the soundtrack, especially focusing in on the Foley, you will notice that the doors are not the doors that we find in reality. The sound has been enhanced, and that is accomplished through marrying and layering the sounds. We are going to see all this in our project. So the other aspect is replace reality. We replace reality. By replacing reality is that, okay, let's remove the door. Let's remove the door, probably put something else in its place. You're replacing what would naturally be real and then putting there something that is not real. The other aspect is to create reality. You create reality. So when the production sound comes and it's lacking all the elements of Foley, probably the elements are low because of the way the boom swinger swung to capture the dialogue, and which is that is his main purpose. So we cannot go against what he is doing, because he needs to capture the clean dialogue. But the elements of Foley may miss or may be low in volume. So we enhance by creating that reality so that the person is immersed in there. Foley premixing, the objective, of course, is imaging. You focus, and there has to be perspective. We can look at our session quickly. Yes, I just want to dial in so that we can see those three elements or the three tracks that we are we have been talking about the props, the feet, the cloth. So if you notice on my screen here, we have this gaze in green, and you can see that I have named them. Just hold on a bit. Hold on a bit. Yes, you can see that we have props 1, props 2, props 3, props until props 10. So you solo that. I'm going to solo this, and we are going to just listen to the props alone, see how the elements work in this movie. You can hear the phone tapping right there. His hands touching the cupboard. The door opening. And the bag scuffle right there. So if you notice on the screen over there that I cannot see his bag, yet I'm creating the reality. Just because the bag is off screen does not mean the sound is not present, because there are things he's scuffing with, and they're in the bag. So we have still the bag scuff running through, even though we cannot see it. Sorry. You notice the taps on the car steering, a few objects from the bag. All this I cannot see, but I'm imagining what it would be like if I was scuffing through the bag. Yeah, so these are our props. I'll just let you hear the feet. Just quickly, you notice when you're hearing, I hope everyone is putting on their headphones. Make sure you're listening through your headphones. If you notice, you can hear that the feet, first of all, start center, then they keep running towards your left ear. And this is to replicate the actor as they are running towards your left. So you would pan them that side. So if you notice here, the feet right here begin before, let me just zoom in. The feet begin, these are your feet right here. The feet begin on this scene while this he's still in the car. This is to help with continuity. You need to be, the movie has to be continuous. If the feet began If the fit began when we had seen him, let me just do that for you quickly. I'll mute those. I've just muted the fit. It looks awkward, right? Or it sounds awkward. So you need to create continuity. Imagine the person running before, because he came running, so you're imagining he's running before, so that there is continuity. And the fact that he looks at him at this point with his eyes, that also helps you to create a cue of where the fit should begin. Yeah, that is an example of our fit here. So let me just play for you the cloth moves, or the moves track. This is right within the car. You notice that quickly, that is yeah, I think this is Mike. Yes. So Mike's feet match with his clothing. You notice that the cloth is also panned where the feet are going, to your left ear. And then we have Anthony. And then Mike comes back. And you can see that his cloth and his feet are aligned. And that's what you're aiming for always. Where there's feet, there's cloth. There's a cloth movement. So I'll just play that again from the beginning, right here. Yeah. That's briefly it. I'm now going to combine all the elements, the three tracks, the props, the feet, and the cloth, so that we can hear all of them in context. So I've soloed all of them. You're following every move they make. Yes, that is a quick example of our three tracks with props and feet and cloth. So another aspect of sound effects that we look at is the ambience or backgrounds. Ambience backgrounds. What are ambience or backgrounds? So these are sounds of the environment in a particular movie scene. So for example, if you look on your right over here, this is a jungle. The ambience in here involves birds. It involves a stream. I think this is a stream hitting the stones right here. So this makes up your environment. There could be other animals in there. So you have animal sounds, you have transport, you have cars, you have airplanes, you have dishes in a restaurant. For example, if there is a scene where the characters are in a restaurant, there you have dishes hitting in the background. That's why they're called backgrounds, to create that ambience and atmosphere. You have others like waterfalls, rivers and lakes. In backgrounds editing, our objective first of all is to add room tone to a scene. Like we saw yesterday with Andrew, room tone is a very important aspect of dialogue. It is a very important aspect of dialogue and to create realism in a scene. So you need room tone in a scene. But the room tone I use as a background editor is quite different from the room tone that the dialogue editor would use. The room tone the dialogue editor would use is the room tone probably recorded on set while using the mics, which does not capture the ambience. It just captures the dialogue. But also, even when you're recording ADR, you have that room tone of the studio that you're using. But the room tone I'm talking about here is the room tone of the backgrounds. It creates that ambience. So the objective here is to add room tone to a scene. And number two is to add ambience that well interprets the scene. Add ambience that well interprets the scene. So if you have a jungle, I do not expect cars in that ambience. So the ambience for jungle would be probably monkeys in the background, birds in the background, water streams in the background, not cars, not trains, or that kind of stuff, because that will be unrealistic to the scene. So the workflow is pretty much the same. The backgrounds editor will import OMF spot and Q. You spot and Q for the backgrounds, knowing which backgrounds that you're going to use. So the next stage, of course, will be recording the backgrounds or cut in from the library. So most of the time when you're going to record, that's why you need to involve the audio post-production people at the pre-stage. Because what will happen is that when the person comes on this on the scene while you're recording, we'll be able to capture the environment of that scene, so that it is unique for the movie in that scenario. The other approach would be also to cut in from the library. That means you need to have so many libraries of backgrounds as a backgrounds editor, enough libraries that you can use to interpret the scene, but recording the backgrounds would be the best approach. Then we have, of course, you need to edit the backgrounds, remove what is not necessary, and then you have the premix where you premix the backgrounds. And then, of course, the last stage will be printing, re-recording, and dubbing, which will be covered tomorrow. So just quickly, I will take you to I'll just take you to our Pro Tools session, and we will look at the backgrounds. So the backgrounds are these guys here in pink. I think this is pink. And I'll just play you and you hear and listen to them. Let me play that again. you can hear the cars passing in the background. So you notice that this part here is quite calm. Because we can see, according to the scene, it is all calm and peaceful. Yet this part here is quite noisy. And that's what the sound of a city would, a busy, crowded city would sound like. I know everyone has been through a crowded city like Kampala. You can hear such. I will just play just a few backgrounds for you to notice the layers that are happening in there. So for this scene we have that background that was solid. And then we layer it with background. Yes, that's to enhance the cars in there. And then you have this background 17. You can hear the cars in the background. Because they're next to the road, you need elements of cars passing. Actually, this shot, if you look at the shot right there, it calls for those cars. You can see those cars in the background over there, where the gate is, around here, if you observe. So all this is accounted for while you're doing backgrounds to create the realism of the scene. And of course we have, just still on that scene, background 12. Now this is the room tone I was talking about. It's quite different from the dialogue room tone. It contains some elements in there of cars, those subtle. I chose them subtle because even the level, if you watch the level here, it's I've dropped it to around -17 dB. It will be quite loud if I play it. Backgrounds, being backgrounds, need to be mixed low, but not too low that they do not create the realism that you're looking for. So this is the background when it came. At that level it would not create the realism we are looking for. But taking it back to the level the re-recording chose, we have that. Quite peaceful, quite calm. Then joined all the layers together, you have that.
Sorry.
So just to play production sound of this scene without the way it came at this point, let me just play that. Another point to hint on is if you listen to the production sound, the backgrounds are busy. So if, as a background editor, you're not going to create something that is so different unless you're creating a new reality that is in contrast to the scene that we are watching. But if you listen to that production sound, the backgrounds are so busy. That's why in choosing the right background, I chose a very busy Now when I picked this background, of course it had no cars in them, so I picked another background that could bring out the cars. So that quite matches what we hear in the production sound, but it is of much more quality. Yes, just to go to the next scene here. You hear how calm and peaceful it is. So you emulate that also with the backgrounds that you pick. Of course, this does not have the cars in the background. That's why audio post-production is important.
Sorry. Where's the back? Back.
Yeah, that is production sound over there. And this is now the audio post-production.
Sorry. Where's the back? In the back.
Yes, so those are our backgrounds. Those are our backgrounds. So right here, I'm going to look at the sound effects. So what are sound effects? Sound effects are the unnatural and artificial sounds that help to enhance the movie scene. We have examples like car crashes, explosions, gunfire, impacts, debris. So if you have a very intense action movie, you experience explosions, you experience gunfires, you experience impacts and debris in there. So the categories of sound effects, there are three. We have design SFX. Design SFX are really those that they do not exist in nature. And number two, you manipulate the waveform. What do I mean by this is usually the sound effects department works with the Foley department because that is all like SFX. So what the sound effects editor would ask of the Foley artist is probably record for me a waterfall and I see what I could do with it. So using the technology like synthesizers, they would manipulate the waveform of the waterfall and then come up with a new sound. That's what design SFX is. Then you have the electronic sound effects. Here we have those that are generated by electronic synthesizers. Synthesizers are quite wide, and we will have, as Squad A, we have designed courses for people to understand these elements. So we have designed courses that can help you understand synthesizers. So we call upon each and every one to apply for those courses. We shall be letting you know when they are available so that you can understand these concepts in detail. So electronic sound effects are created by electronic synthesizers. We have seen, if you've watched Star Wars, you hear, or any sci-fi movie, you hear things like clicks, you hear beeps, you hear whooshes, you hear risers in there, sounds that rise, you hear whooshes. If someone was swinging a sword or was swinging a punch, all those can be created with electronic synthesizers. We shall see those examples with our project. Then the third aspect or category is the hard and soft SFX. The hard effects are simply those that come from an on-screen sound source. It's on screen. For example, the sound of one closing the door. The bang of that door is called a hard effect. And then also they begin and end cleanly. Why? Because you need, since it's on screen, you need to have a smooth coming in and a smooth coming out so that it doesn't detract the viewer. So you have in there door closes and openings, and then also car crashes. Those are really hard effects. Soft effects are the opposite of hard effects. These ones have no defined end or beginning. They can be off screens. For example, a phone ringing in a restaurant, but you cannot see it. That is a soft SFX. Buzzes, hums. If the scene had, let's say, an arena, there is a game being played in an arena, the crowd becomes a soft SFX. So the workflow, again, since these are all sound effects, is the same. You import, you spot and cue, you record the sound effects. For those who have watched Godzilla, if you watch behind of the scene of Godzilla, you will notice that the sound effects team went out to record different animals. They got different animals, and then they manipulated their sounds to come up with the sound of Godzilla. For those who get the opportunity, you can check it out on YouTube and see that. So this is what is majorly encouraged. Why? Because it's creative, number one, and then number two is that it creates a new sound, because there would never be a sound. You can't copy the Godzilla sound because it's unique to it, and they'll keep using that. Also, you could record the sound effects, go out with your team, record the sound effects at the sound effects editor, and then or cut in from the library, which means you need to have a massive library of sound effects that you can use, that you can manipulate, that you can create anew, and then make great things in there. So edit also, the next stage is to edit the sound effects, making sure that they match, and then also pre-mixing the sound effects, and then of course printing, recording, and dubbing. So just to go back to our movie again, we are going to see our categories of sound effects. So we have these guys in brown, just before the backgrounds. FX 1.1, 2, 3, until 24 here. I'm just going to solo and play them so that we listen in context. Please have your headphones on. Yeah, I think as far as this scene is concerned, these are the sound effects in there. Let's play them again. You notice the borders in there. Yes, those are our sound effects. Now, why did the sound effects editor choose the borders to put in there? Is to enhance the backgrounds. When we listen to our backgrounds over here, this and that, sorry, this and this, and that. So at that point there, in the backgrounds, we do not have the sound effect. We do not have the borders, sorry. So the sound effects editor added for us the sound effects over here of the border sounds to just match up with the backgrounds. So we can listen to that. So you just had the borders right in there. So we had the borders right in there. So combined, also another thing I just want to pinpoint out are these effects over here, 4, 5, and 6. Now this, I'll just remove the horn. Now in reality, you wouldn't hear the sound of that traffic light, but when sitting down with the director and the supervising sound editor, the director decided that he needed that sound in there just to create his own reality, that you could hear the click of the lights over here, the traffic lights. And then, so you can hear all that when we play everything together.
Boss, I'm really sorry. I thought I punked the spy camera. I'll be right back.
So this is the full picture. This is the full picture of what these elements are doing to enhance this movie. The reason why audio post-production is very, very, very important. The reason why you need to do it for your movie. Don't rely on production sound, because if we listen to production sound compared to the audio post-production sound, there is a very huge difference. This is audio post-production sound is cinema grade, but production sound
I'm really sorry. I thought I packed everything up. You just hurry up with this.
you can hear it's not controlled. It's all over the place. Some elements are missing in there.
I see. Sorry. Where's the bag? Back.
So that is production sound. But now when you listen to our movie with the audio post-production sound, you can really appreciate how much it changes everything. So we shall just listen to it one more time.
Boss, I'm really sorry. I thought I punked the spy camera.
You just hurry up.
I'll be right back.
Sorry. the production sound was on. The production sound was on.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. Where's the bag? In the bag.
Are you in the same course that you were in yesterday?
So you're hearing all the elements, backgrounds, the bug scarps, which
Yeah.
are props and Foley.
Have you ever been a scout?
Pardon?
A scout. Scouting. Have you ever been one?
Yes, long time ago, primary school.
Remember the scout's motto?
Be prepared, yes.
Be prepared.
You can single out all those elements, right?
You see, Mike, the work we do is all about good instinct and timing and preparation. If you're not prepared when a story breaks, someone else gets the scoop. And sometimes
I know. And I'm really sorry.
Yes.
sometimes lack of preparation.
Yes, so those are our just quickly, let me play the track again.
Alert from Clean My Mac X. It's time to...
Sorry about that. Let me just play this track again. It interfered with the production sound. Just to appreciate again what the sound can do, let's play it again.
Boss, I'm really sorry. I thought I popped the spy camera. I'll be right back. Cecia, sorry. Where's the bag? In the bag.
Are you in the same course that you were in yesterday?
Well, yeah.
You can hear the cloth moves.
Have you ever been a scout?
Pardon?
A scout. Scouting. Have you ever been one?
Yes, long time ago, primary school.
Remember the scout's motto?
Be prepared, yes.
Be prepared. You see, Mike, the work we do is all about good instinct and
You can
timing
hear the backgrounds,
and
the
preparation.
birds in the trees.
If you're not prepared when a story breaks, someone else gets the scoop. And sometimes
I
lack
know. And I'm really sorry.
Sometimes lack of preparation might cost us more than just a story. You see, the people that we're dealing with, they may not seem dangerous right now. But as we begin to close in, they feel the pressure. Suddenly they're wild animals. They have to
Yes. Sorry. So you hear how much audio post-production has changed this whole movie. Now it is cinema. It is ready for Netflix. It is ready for the cinema to be watched. Yes, we shall end our session here today. I thank you all for coming. We are glad as Squad A that you turned up for this session. We are really happy to even see you again tomorrow. Make sure you attend the last session in our series on audio post-production. So at this juncture, we will entertain and have some questions that you may have coming in. Yes, Spencer just asked, how do you get the sound effects? How I get the sound effects is, first of all, we looked at recording them. The other thing is having the library. So you need to have a library of sound effects. You can go online, you can do a Google search for sound effects websites. The few that I know are Zapsplat. There is Boom Library. Pay for them, then you have your library full. Yeah, that's how I get the sound effects. So you can record them or you can cut them in from your library. Yes, Mugisha Arnold is asking, are sound effects, Foley, background similar? You would say they are similar in a way, but they're different in a way. Similar in the sense that they're all sound effects. Different in a way that one is Foley, dealing with human interaction with their environment. The other one is backgrounds, which is the environment itself. And then the other one is sound effects, which are created out of the creative process that you come up with or pick from libraries. So the sound effects are more unnatural. What would stand out as sound effects are artificial and natural. And then you have the backgrounds, which are sometimes natural, sometimes they may be artificial. For example, if it's a sci-fi movie, we do not know what the backgrounds of the moon are like, but when we watch the astronaut movies, you can hear an ambience that has been created for those sound effects. Then we have the Foley. Foley, of course, it's typically human interaction with their environment. I think I hope I've answered Mugisha. Lillian is asking, in Foley, do you choose the character's type of cloth? Yes, and definitely yes. During our spotting with the supervising sound editor and the director, we look at the scene, we say, okay, Tom Cruise is putting on this jacket, and then we go and get that jacket. Some jackets, some props or some cloth is specific to that character. For example, Thor's hammer is typical for him. It's unique to him. So the director may want that to stand out. So you have to get that prop specifically for that actor. But all in all, you need to look at, while you're spotting, look at what is the character wearing. And that is what you get as the cloth. I hope I've answered Lillian. Lillian is asking, for those interested in Foley and sound effects, do you have classes or trainings? Yes, classes are in prep. This is one of them. We are going to have more interesting classes coming, provided for you by Quad A. We shall train you. Andrew talked about internship. Yes, we have many people who have been coming in for internships, but we need more of you who are especially interested in sound to come in for these internships and have the experience and learn and acquire knowledge and the skills and the techniques. So we take you from the novice to the expert in this. Yes, Lillian. I can wait for more questions. Again, I want to thank you for all turning up today. Thank you, Lillian. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Spencer, for turning up. Thank you, everyone that has attended this session. Yes, we look forward to tomorrow's session with Andrew again on music and the final mix itself in full. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you.